From Minneapolis Washburn High School, we proudly welcome you to the 2015 Twin Cities Girls Championship and our final regular season broadcast of the season. Today, the Minneapolis Washburn Millers at 21-5, winners of the Minneapolis City Conference for the third year in a row, host the Como Park Cougars, making their first ever appearance in the Twin Cities Showcase. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden. I'll be joined by Quintin Johnson, the Bloomington Kennedy head coach, in just a moment. St. Paul Como Park at 18-8, playing in their first Twin Cities game. How does that happen? Well, they tied with St. Paul Central in the St. Paul City Conference at 11-1, and the tiebreaker for this game is the team with the longer gaps. And Central played in this game a year ago, and Como had never participated. That made the tiebreaker a very easy one to determine. Como Park, seeded third in their section. They are in Section 3. They'll have tough outs with Park Center and De La Salle. Como Park primarily a one-player team, but that one player absolutely prolific. Aundrea Adams leads the team in every category, has achieved the 40-point mark 3 times this season. That includes a 49-point effort against Hastings. Ever since she got healthy, the proverbial brake has been let go. She's on the throttle and very tough to stop. One-on-one, she's going to win those battles, and even if you double-team her, that's going to leave someone else open, and Mikayla VanNett is one of those players. VanNett, at 11.8 points per game, had 31 in Como Park's season-ending win over St. Paul Johnson. So if you leave Aundrea alone, you have a couple of freshmen who could do some damage. Minneapolis Washburn, not as strong of a team compared to last year, of course, with Chase Coley moving on to Iowa, who set every block record imaginable. You're going to drop down a bit, but 21-5, even if their strength of schedule didn't match their previous years, their talent still remarkable. Lucia Renikoff has taken over the leadership mantle. He's averaging 17.3 points per game and 6.9 steals per game to lead the state in that mark. And Cheyenne Wesley also finding a groove with 11.3 points per game. Washburn, 11-1, suffered their first conference loss in 3 years to Minneapolis South, but that wasn't enough to derail them from hosting this event and participating for a third straight year. This is the second time they hosted. Washburn getting the 3 seed in Section 6, Class 3A. Ahead of them are Waconia and Benilde St. Margaret's, but that section, perhaps one of the most unpredictable ones. Any one of those 3 teams could get out of that section and into the state tournament. Pride on the line today and the final tune-up for the section playoffs. Starting lineups are coming up in a moment. This is high school girls basketball. Welcome to Minneapolis Washburn High School. Let's take a look at the starting 5 for both teams before we get underway. For the visiting Como Park Cougars, it's going to be number 3, Zanash Durdrum, the 5'6 senior guard. Number 15, Andrayah Adams, the 5'8 junior guard. Number 23, Rebecca Hausman, 5'7 junior guard. Number 24, Caitlin Jones, 5'10 senior forward. And number 32, Mikayla VanNett, 5'7 freshman guard. Washburn will start Lucia Renikoff, number 10, the 5'8 senior guard. Number 21, Jazanae Patterson, the 5'6 junior guard. Number 22, Olivia Downing, the 5'10 senior center. Number 24, Cheyenne Wesley, 5'6 junior guard. And number 31, Elena Bagney, 5'10 junior forward. And Quintin, you actually had a chance to see this Washburn team back in December. And Chase Coley may no longer be there, but they still have a very talented group.
Yeah, they definitely do. As far as they have that senior leadership, Chase Coley might be gone, but you got to remember a lot of these kids played in the state tournament last year.
And they could do so again depending on what happens in Section 6, which I feel is going to be one of the more unpredictable sections. Any one of those top 3 teams, I think, has a good chance of getting to the state bracket. I
agree with that. It's been up and downs as far as trying to find a consistent team to win, but that could turn out to be good for unpredictable playoff results.
And Como Park, getting past Park Center and De La Salle would seem to be tough outs, but the progress and the evolution out of Aundrea Adams is impeccable. Last year averaged just under 20 points per game. This year leading the state in scoring at just under 30, and if it wasn't for so many blowout games that Como Park has in conference, she probably would have somewhere close to 35.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's kind of single-handedly carrying his team, but along the way, it seems like a lot of her teammates are getting better, and that's always the mark of a true good player. If not only is she getting her points, she's making those other inexperienced girls ready to play.
When you lead the team in every category, you definitely make everyone else around you better. Assists, steals, rebounds. Adams has attracted a lot of attention. In fact, scouts from South Carolina and the Minnesota Golden Gophers coaching staff are here today to get another look at this highly coveted junior. Washburn wearing the blue. They have never won this Twin Cities game in their 3-year run. Como Park has never played in this event. They're looking forward to it. And both will get a few days to rest before the playoffs. Tip is won, and Zanas Jerdrum almost had it. Jones fighting for the rebound, and it will go to Cheyenne Wesley. And as you mentioned, no Chase Coley, who's now at Iowa and is coming into her own there. But a lot of these players were on last year's team that got to the semifinal round. Lost a tough one to Park Center.
Well, as you say that, I don't know if Coach Coley talked to you about it, but you got Shepard and Smith not starting this game.
And both of them were, well, Shepard was on last year's team, and well, they still have some depth. Adams almost lost it, going to VanNett. Bullseye!
You're going to be able to get that right there if she can break down the defense. If they're going to just concentrate on her, those shooters are going to get some open looks.
VanNett has had an up-and-down season, but we have a 3 from Patterson, and she can't put it in. And the rebound to Adams. VanNett had 31 points in Como Park's runaway win over Johnson, and VanNett has shown flashes this year of her leadership, and there's Adams with the right-handed floater. And Como Park with the first 5 points of this one.
Looked like Como Park comes out in a 1-2-2 zone.
And Adams, I think, got the block on Bagney. VanNett lost the handle, though. Here's Renikoff. Deuce is too strong.
I think Washburn might want to settle down a little bit. I think an up-and-down style of game might favor Como Park.
On Ken Zellner-Smith, we have a foul on Adams. She'll shoot 3. That's Garland Sanchez who's making the call, and an old high school classmate of mine. Both Harding alumni. He's been officiating for 5 years, and a lot of camaraderie among them. A lot of these folks do it because they want to stay involved with the game, and here's somebody who's very involved. Adams to a career-high 49 points this season, and a very good free throw shooter as well.
Well, I see Zellner-Smith is getting ready to check in. Like I said, I don't quite know why those 2 seniors aren't starting the game, but coaches have their reasons for doing things. I've been there, believe me.
I covered a game. You were there, actually, when they played Edina, and he couldn't start Chase or Lucia because they broke a team rule. It wasn't anything egregious, but Tyler said he had to uphold the standards he has, so he had to make sure his teammates got the message. It didn't take long before they went in, though.
All right. Well, we're not only coaching basketball, we're coaching lives, so we got to teach lessons.
But there is Zellner-Smith, a member of last year's team. Renikoff buries the 3. And that gets Washburn on the board.
Did a good job of swinging the ball around, being patient.
Adams just inside the line, but that's short. Adams can be a bit streaky at times. Look at Caitlin Jones rip it away, but tough angle. Wesley has it now.
Yeah, they're really packing that zone in. Once it gets down below the free throw line, they got all 5 in the paint.
And Caitlin Jones swats it away from Patterson. VanNett for 3. No. And that's going to be a reach-in on Caitlin Jones.
I got to give it to Como Park right now. They're trying to turn this into a dogfight here, and that's probably a good thing for them. They're really scrappy.
They can hang around in those dogfights. I was at the Maranatha game that they lost 104-97. Had Aundrea Adams not fouled out with about 4 minutes to go, might be a different result. But Como Park is hanging around some of these bigger opponents. And with Adams, well, Washburn throws it away. Miscommunication.
They seem to be pretty confused with that packed in 1-2-2 zone there. The spacing on the bigs weren't very good that time.
I was going to say with Adams, once she got her lingering hamstring problems cleared up, Como Park losing the dribble there. Once Adams regained full health, she's really taken off. Last year, just under 20 points, and now 29.2 at last count. Renikoff from the corner. She's a 53% three-point shooter. And she has 2 here at 7-6.
Well, that'll only bring that zone out, and the bigs will be able to take advantage of that if she keeps hitting those.
Jerdrum gets the Plinko bounce, and I just noticed another Gopher is here, Alina Starr, one of the newest Gophers, transferred from Auburn. Won a couple of 3 state titles actually at De La Salle. Renikoff, 14-footers off the mark. Renikoff will be going to St. Thomas next year to continue her basketball career, and she'll get some great leadership with Ruth Sin at the Division III level. How did Aundrea Adams pull that off?
It's pure strength right there to be able to take the bump and still finish.
Adams with a lot of grit. Washburn another turnover. But they get it right back. Downing picking off Jerdrum. Wesley draws the foul. That's 2 on Jones. It's going to be a side out, and line changes coming in for the Cougars, and here comes Emma Shepard for the Millers as well, number 12.
Be interesting to see who settles down after the first 3-4 minutes. You got the hype of the Twin City Championship game. Now, teams can start executing their game plan.
And one of those teams has never played here before. Renikoff launching for 3. And she's 3 for 4, I believe. Took part in a state tournament earlier this season, finished second with the girls' soccer team. They lost to Orono in penalty kicks. That's a backcourt violation. Rain Adams lost her sense of location on that one.
Renikoff is kind of keeping it in this game early with these threes. Sooner or later, someone else is going to have to start contributing.
She has all 9 of Washburn's points.
But one thing she has done, though, as I predicted, you hit those outside shots, it's a little bit more room in the space for the post players. It'd be nice to get a touch in there.
Rain Adams with the steal. But Baker wasn't ready. Wesley in transition, no, and Aundrea Adams was smart there not to pick up the silly foul. And she's getting a lot smarter about that. VanNett got it.
That's a freshman right there?
You say it as if she's older.
Well, I mean, she's pretty poised for, a game of this caliber. Like you said, Como Park's first time, obviously her first time as a 9th grader. Kind of impressed with her aggressiveness on the offensive end.
Well, and she's had some big games. She had before the 31 against Johnson, she actually had a season high in the Maranatha game with 18. And if she can find a stroke from 3-point range, she makes a great counterpart to Adams, and I'll be curious to see what those two do next year. Off the screen, but no good from Downing. Zellner Smith set her up nicely, just couldn't put it in. VanNett, nice stutter step, bullseye.
Wow.
VanNett's learning how to juke defenders with ease.
Well, she recognized that the closeout was off balance. You just take your time, let them go by, knock down the shot.
Well, if VanNett can develop, if this becomes a consistent thing, Como Park could be a dark horse out in their section. Here's Shepard. She hits the 2. Emma Shepard, a great mid-range specialist for the Millers.
Yeah, foot on the line there, as coaches like to say, the worst shot in basketball.
But you'll take it if it goes in, right?
We will take it.
Rain Adams getting the bump. No foul called, and she can't bank it in. And the rebound going to Emma Shepard. Emma has a cousin on the boys' team. Wesley. Thought she might have had a look from three-point range. Decides not to go with it, though. Downing from the elbow. Swish.
Well, now we're starting to get some other people contributing other than Renikoff, and that's a good sign for Washburn. They're settling down and letting Como Park take it.
Aundrea Adams, step back, no. Steal by Baker. Monique Baker with the strip from behind. There's Rain Adams, the younger sister of Andrayah VanNett. Can't hit the three-pointer. Jasmine Thomas with the O-board, and she's blocked by Downing. These are two very scrappy teams. If they see any kind of look, they're going to take it. And a traveling violation on Wesley.
Be interesting to see which coach calls the first time out here, because I guarantee you these kids are gassed right now. They're playing hard these first 5 minutes, and with that adrenaline, it only gets you tired.
The Como Park roster appeared very calm when I spoke to them. I've had a chance to get to know them a little bit. I did a story on Aundrea for the weekly show, and then in our last game, did a piece on Caitlin Jones and her involvement with the Genesis Works program that got her a job at 3M. Adams, defender in her face. She's going to take those kinds of shots. Yep. She's confident enough to do so. Autumn Tucker in trouble, and Washburn with a great trap there.
Let's see if Washburn can get a high-low out of this situation. They missed it a couple times last couple possessions.
They're going to go for three instead, and Emma Shepard ties the game at 16.
Well, why take two when you can get three?
Probably was upset for taking that worst shot in basketball, as you put it. Emma Shepard, didn't know she had that to her arsenal, and actually a pretty good three-point shooter at 57.9.
Well, maybe her sitting down, could get her a little bit more focused on what she needs to do and come out and have a good game.
The foul was before the shot, so no basket for Adams. Side out for the Cougars. Yeah, 9-12, halfway through the first half, and no one has used their timeouts yet. That doesn't happen too often. Jump ball, possession arrow favoring Washburn. And as great as Adams is, the rest of Como Park's roster sometimes gets a little more rattled, and Washburn recognizing that.
Yeah, this might be a game where you might have to shorten your bench up a little bit. Got to go with the players that can handle this type of intensity and pressure.
That's going to be a blocking foul on Rain Adams.
They've been letting them play a little bit here. That's only the 5th team foul overall.
Far cry from the Maranatha game I called. It was a two-person crew, but they called a lot of contact. Oh, the high-low missed again.
Good back screen there by Zelna Smith. Just got to execute that pass fundamentally.
That pass was almost on target with our camera operator over there, but he's not eligible. And remember, Caitlin Jones picking up 2 quick fouls, so she's not able to help out in the paint. Probably won't see much of her until the second half. And Monique Baker gets on the board. Autumn Tucker with the nice dish.
Snuck behind the zone there. Zelna Smith got to do a little bit better job as far as see man, see ball.
Or in this case, see women, see ball. Baker sees it, steals it, gets control, but too strong. And how many times have we seen that happen? And well, not just here, but every level. You get the open basket, double dribble on Wesley. You get the open basket, and you leave it empty. Downing's going to go back in for the Millers. 18-16 with 8:11 left in the first. There's Rain. Drew the foul on Zelner Smith.
I'll tell you what, might need to keep her head up a little bit more, but the aggressiveness was there, so can't fault that.
Rain, as a very intense player, brings a lot of that to games. Can be a little out of control at times, but as a freshman, you know she's got 3 years of development ahead of her, and she'll have one more year to play alongside her big sister.
I'll tell you, as a coach, you'd rather work with a kid where you have to tone down the aggressiveness as far as trying to get someone to be more aggressive.
I would agree with that, because at least with that sign of aggression, it means that they are very passionate and they want to do well.
So they're ready to play.
It's easier to cool them down than it is to fire them up. Well, Como Park, they're playing some scrappy defense here.
Now this is going to be a test right here for Washburn, as I see Renikoff coming in, but they really don't have a primary ball handler other than her.
Rain Adams gets blocked. These two teams played against each other a year ago at Como. Washburn won that one, but they had to get through a tough first half. The Cougars gave them a challenge, and things are getting a little sluggish here.
A little wild.
We might see that first time out.
Yeah, but it definitely favors Como Park.
Tucker. That's off the mark. Zellner Smith with the rebound. Now, I know the game is close, but why do you think you'd hold your timeouts this far in the first half?
Yeah, that's a little strange to me. I mean, if anything, just to settle the kids down, you know, and reinforce what you went through in pregame talk, you know, and all that stuff. Limit turnovers that we're seeing. Slow the game down a little bit.
Well, here comes some substitutions. Hausman VanNett is going back in, and well, let's see what happens here with Como. With VanNett on the bench, they didn't find a lot of offense, but VanNett found a rhythm early. 6:46 left in a quick-moving first half.
Yeah, no timeouts and not many foul calls. We get that.
Maybe they feel a little bit pressured with the Washburn boys hosting a section game tonight against Benilde St. Margaret's. They're the top seed in Section 6 in the boys bracket. And one of possibly 3 Minneapolis teams who could make the state tournament round. Minneapolis North in Class A and Roosevelt in 2A. North and Roosevelt, the top seeds in both of their sections. Twin Cities basketball having a renaissance of sorts.
All right, Washburn showing a 1-2-2 half-court zone here for the first time.
Let's see what that does. Aundrea Adams hasn't had too many shot opportunities.
Yeah, look like they're looking to trap out of it.
Well, then she'll draw the foul on Patterson. Washburn still with a couple to give.
There you go.
Trap was sprung, and Patterson with the steal. A great move to the rim for Jazanet, and she's on the board. We're tied at 18.
We'll see how Como Park adjusts to this now with 1-2-2. This is where you might see a first time out.
VanNett. Yes. VanNett seems to be the popular option.
Well, I thought I might see the first time out unless you have a cold-blooded assassin as a 9th grader shooting threes for you.
Mikayla VanNett shooting just under 40% from three-point range.
Little downstream action here with Renikoff.
And she'll draw the foul. This trap that Washburn is running will be interesting to see how Como responds to it, as you noted, but they've dealt with this before. Maranatha went to a full court press, and in the times they pulled that off, Como Park had trouble moving the ball up, but you know, now you have that game under your belt. Perhaps they're more aware of those traps.
Definitely.
And Maranatha, one of the top teams in Class A, as Elena Bagney posts up over Caitlin Jones.
First time Washburn kind of taking advantage of their size.
And Adams with a carrying violation. Oh, great inbound recognition by Renikoff, but Downing couldn't put it in. Aundrea Adams. No, and I think Caitlin Jones just picked up her third.
Whoa. Nice aggressive rebound attempt there.
That's a tough one to take.
She has to play smart here till they can get her out. Don't want to pick up that fourth this early. Got a little back screen action going here for Washburn.
And there's our first timeout. It took 13 minutes and 23 seconds to get there, but Tyler Coley not liking what he's seeing.
Well, as a coach, I can guarantee you what's going on right there. You got 3 players doing one play, you got 2 doing the other. Miscommunication, the kids got to communicate to each other.
Now, what did you notice from that team? We talked about it a little bit, and how they responded without Chase Coley, because a lot of times when you graduate such prolific talent, and you've been through this over at Kennedy, it can take a while for some teams to bounce back. And here, Washburn, 21-5, and just 1 loss in conference to South, and that was a 2-point loss, if I recall.
Well, what I say to that is, as far as our situation, we lost our quarterback, Kanisha Bell, and those are harder to replace than a big. Still get that play because there's not that much size in high school basketball on the whole most of the time. But with Washburn having Renikoff back, their quarterback, it can help you in that transition.
It was a 1-point loss to South, 57-56, as I confirmed that. But, well, they've got a coach who has revitalized the program, and an offensive foul. The official almost second-guessed himself for a moment, wasn't sure which way to go, and then ultimately chose charge.
Well, it actually looked like he looked at the other official to see if he had it a different way. Yeah,
okay, yeah, that's right. 3-man crew. You want to make sure the call's universal. And Tyler Coley will get an explanation.
You know, I think a situation like that is more of a player control foul rather than the girl being set there. You put your head down like that, sometimes you don't get the benefit of the call.
Right, you put the head down or you lead with the elbow. I mean, in either case, Coleman Park gets the ball back. Adams, deep 3. That's off the mark. VanNett had it and lost it.
I'm surprised Coleman Park is not putting anyone in the middle of that 1-2-2 zone. It's kind of wide open there. They're attacking it from the perimeter a little bit too much. The zone, you got to go inside out.
We've seen a lot of outside shots. I haven't seen too many looks inside. So and Emmett Stepper was thinking about another one.
Washburn running some flex action here.
There's Renikoff. No. Aundrea Adams corrals the board. Autumn Tucker draws the foul, and that's Washburn's last to give.
And that's also number 2 on Lucia Renikoff.
Jazanae Patterson also has 2 fouls. And Wesley's going to go in place of Renikoff. You mentioned quarterbacks. Tyler certainly doesn't want his to have 3 fouls before halftime.
Definitely, and in a situation like that.
And Aundrea Adams with a clean swish. Give her 3. Go ahead, though.
Well, yeah, you get 2 players with 2 fouls, and you got to play one of them. You got to find your most valuable one and to save.
And keep her, yes, put the safety net on. Jazanae Patterson.
Wow.
Great slasher. At least 2 baskets, and both have come on drives to the rim.
That right there will take away the pain of not having Renikoff these last 3 minutes of the first half.
Coleman Park with a 2-point lead, 24-22. Rain Adams.
So as you can see, that middle is open.
VanNett. Is Coleman Park not recognizing it, or do they feel they don't have a threat down there?
Well, you know, not necessarily to score out of it, just to ease up. You know, it's easy to guard on the outside as far as with their length. But most defensives, they sink in against the zone.
Shania Wesley drawing the foul. Both are out of fouls to give now. Wesley on the season, 11.3 points per game, 51% free throw shooter. And she splits there.
You know, this is similar to the game we called last year in the Twin Cities Championship, where it's a close game with a couple minutes left. Who could get that momentum going into halftime? And I remember Central hitting one at the buzzer.
We might have that again. Washburn again. Luck has not been on their side in these Twin Cities games. And that three-pointer was crucial. Here's Peden with an and one. That three-pointer was crucial in that decision because Central won 71-67, and that three, I did check. It actually, the shot came late, so the three-pointer should not have counted. But in any event, that was a big basket because had that not counted, might have been a different score. 4-point difference and a three-point basket.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, it dictates how you make your adjustments at halftime. You know, if you're girls, you got to pull them up. You know, a lot of times during team talks, you know, you're not even X's and O's. You're just kind of getting in their head a little bit.
And something happened with Monique Baker favoring the right leg a little bit, so she'll be going out for some time. And Como Park's bench is getting a little bit shorter. Peden, one shot. Hasn't scored much this season, but has a chance to put the Millers up by 2. Unable to do so. Jump ball, Como with the arrow. And the Twin Cities game, last couple of years, well, we're going to have a Como Park timeout now.
Well, I suspect he's going to draw some up here to attack this 1-2-2. Well, as I was saying before, you want to pass the ball in there because most zones sag in, which allows you to kick back out. And players can step into jump shots instead of off the dribble from 3.
And you like what you're seeing out of VanNett, but at what point do you sense, or at what point do you try to utilize Aundrea Adams and her skill set?
Well, Washburn, to their credit, is doing a good job of, you know, knowing where she is and making her take tough shots, contested shots, and that's all you can ask for. But now with this zone here, you might want to even put her in the middle, and then she could actually attack because usually there's a big there, and she's going to be way too quick for that.
And John Robinson noted this, and I've seen this in person. Aundrea Adams is going to win most of the one-on-one battles. Let's see what happens here. 2:15 left. A very tight game.
Well, and as I say that, look who's in the middle.
Washburn won't let her get down there, though, and Rain Adams fouls Patterson.
You know, and the one thing about that, though, you sacrifice, put Adams in the middle. She's one of your best passers on the perimeter, and there you get the turnover.
It can be tough when your best player, it represents every facet. You can't, you put her in one spot, you lose her in another. But Patterson going to the line hasn't converted on the free throws here, so Como Park not giving up too many points. Empty possession. And look who has the ball. Kicks out to VanNett. The pass is deflected, so VanNett's going to drive and get the bounce. VanNett with 13 points. And Rain Adams almost getting the steal.
Well, if this keeps up, I mean, I know you want to make someone else beat you other than Adams, but if she continues to score at this clip, they might have to adjust.
And VanNett can be a little streaky at times, but as you noted, if she's finding her stroke, Washburn's taking a big risk by leaving her alone. Emma Shepard, that was a tough shot. Renikoff is there. She had a tough angle as well. And that was last touch by Shepard. Washburn looked like they were rushing those looks in that last possession.
Tyler Coley taking a chance there. Renikoff in the game. Don't want to get over the back call or anything on the rebound. Pick up your third. Got her out though. So now here's Adams again in the middle.
traveling violation on Jerdrum.
And since they've changed that, there's 2 turnovers with Adams in the middle.
.118 left.
Washburn running the flex offense here with a lot of flex cross screens.
Downing on the line. That rims out, though. Emma Shepard has it. She's blocked, but it's tapped right out to Zellner Smith. Patterson will launch the 3. That's no good either. And Aundrea Adams mistimed the jump, but still comes up with a rebound anyway. She's going to go by Adams. Well, if she's not going to get the looks, figures I'll go to the line and try to score.
Well, and that's smart there. You got Washburn back on their heels. You got Zellner Smith that's prone to foul trouble. You just reach in, and right there you just got to get big and make her make a tough contested shot. Don't foul her and bail her out. Because if she gets a few free throws going through the net, that could get her kick-started to start hitting some shots here.
She's 4 of 5 from the line. 50 seconds left, and Adams is up to 11 points. The state's leading scorer, and who knows what she could do next year. Crossed 2,000 points against St. Croix Prep. Jazane Patterson, well, will try again. Although she hasn't done much, just 1 of 4 thus far from the line.
So I see Tyler Coley's doing what a lot of coaches do at the end of games. He's offensive defensive subbing to get Renikoff out of there. That's still a little risky early, you know, in the game like that.
And you could still pick up an offensive foul.
Right, you just want to save that for when you absolutely have to do it.
It's an interesting strategy, but with 39 seconds left, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. And Jazane Patterson, 1 of 6. Not that you want to foul, but Como Park, they're putting a free throw shooter who's suspect and trying to make her earn those points, and it's paying off for the Cougars right now. 30 seconds to go. VanNett.
Look at that find.
Oh, Jerdrum couldn't put it in. And Zellner Smith is going to get hit. I believe that's her 3rd.
Well,
the rebound was tipped to VanNett. And Zellner Smith, you mentioned being foul prone, just got sloppy on the defense.
Well, and also, I mean, with her being foul prone with 2 fouls, you got to have her out of there.
And she's going out now, I believe. Or no. Tyler's going to keep her in.
Well, I guess he feels because they'll have the last shot offensively. But now, you know, you run the risk of her going over someone's back on the rebounds or any type of loose ball and picking one up.
VanNett missed the front end of a 1-and-1, so Washburn escapes with no penalty. Patterson drives again. Can't get the bounce. But they'll hang on to the last shot. Como Park couldn't corral the O-board. Nerves, I think, maybe coming into this one. I've seen a little nervous action from both teams in the first half.
Well, here's a box set out of bounds here. I look for Renikoff to somehow get the ball back here off his feet.
Zellner Smith, no. Adams with plenty of time. Zellner Smith can't foul her. Aundrea Adams, oh, they got her to give up the dribble. So no points either way. Not the most polished first half, but Como Park with a 28-25 lead. Washburn doing a great job containing Aundrea Adams. And conversely, Como Park playing some great defense. Just outside of Renikoff's early triples, no one seems comfortable.
No, I think Como Park coming out with all the aggression on both sides of the balls got Washburn kind of discombobulated out of their game, and they're rushing them. That's why you see a lot of the missed shots from underneath the basket, driving, and so forth.
We'll take a break for a couple minutes and go over the first half numbers. This is the Twin Cities Girls Championship 2015 edition. And it's picked up by Jerdrum. Here's Aundrea Adams, just a sophomore. Finds Peterson on the outlet, and she scores. Loses the ball on the dribble. Here's Renikoff as a 2-on-1. Stops, pops, and switches it. And Adams boxes out Coley for the rebound. They find Jerdrum. Adams to Jerdrum for the score. Washburn on a 9-2 run. Make that 11-2 on another dish from Renikoff to Coley. She used up her dribble though, finds Adams, who will get things in control. She'll pull up for 15, swish. A much more revitalized Como Park team. Adams with the high arcing kiss off the glass. Renikoff launching, bullseye. But she bricks both. Chase Coley, though, gets the offensive rebound and will score the 2 points the old-fashioned way. Adams, bullseye. Again, I believe Renikoff made a three-pointer. Coley on a backdoor play to Shepard. Miller's up by 8. Approaching their largest lead of the game, but Adams with the kiss off the glass. Patterson splits, Coley with the O-board and the finish. Como Park extending their zone. Coley, double team. She goes off balance and gets the left-handed hook. Will likely need to return to this team in full as Coley hits the long-range 2. Buzzer sounds, 73-59 the final. Washburn moves to 5-2. Como Park falls to 2-4. We'll try to get... We rejoin you at the brighter Minneapolis Washburn with the LED lights, but Como Park shining as well in the first half, more so than Washburn did. 28-25 lead. Coming out of halftime, Mike Peden here with Quintin Johnson, the two-time runner-up in Class 4A. I know last year was probably one of the toughest games you've witnessed, but as a coach and maybe for those players, I guess how do you reflect on that kind of moment and make sure it doesn't dampen what you guys have been able to do?
Well, you know, it hurts right away, and it takes a long time to get rid of that sting, but eventually, you know, you realize what you've done that many teams haven't done before, win or lose, and you know that you've done something special, and you just come back stronger from it.
And we'll see what happens again, but it's some very entertaining matchups in 4A. Mikayla VanNett, 13 points to lead all players in the first half. Aundrea Adams with 11, and those are your notables from Como Park. And Washburn, Lucia Renikoff has 9 points, Emma Shepard has 5. But as we've noted, Washburn really hesitant, nervous, just flinching when it comes to finding a player to step up offensively. Como Park doing a great job getting a hold of Renikoff after those early triples.
Right, it was her early, you know, then some other girls were contributing. But, you know, missed free throws, a couple missed bunnies underneath. Now, you know, this second half, this is where your best players are going to have to shine and kind of put it in their hands.
And we'll see if Aundrea Adams, she does. Didn't get too many touches. Still got 11 points, though, in the first half. And even if you contain somebody, they can still put a few points on you. Shania Wesley missing.
Those are killers. Look at that pass. Oh.
Washburn getting the deflection.
Good look there.
Good look, but nice play, nice reaction by Washburn to stop the fast break. As there was a charging Rebecca Hausman, and you never know how that will turn out. Adams steps into a 3. She's going to do that quite a bit. Looks like she's about to pass and then will pull up. That foul's going to be on VanNett. That's her first. Well, we have 4 timeouts remaining. This could be a slower moving second half, depending on how the score goes. But we noted both coaches reluctant to use their timeouts for most of the first half. Well, now they hang on to him here. Here's Renikoff. Still struggling. And Aundrea Adams, if she's not scoring, she's still involved in other areas, and I think she's had a couple of blocks.
Washburn's had their opportunities inside.
Officials say held ball, so Como Park gets it on the arrow. Washburn in its third straight Twin Cities game, hoping to make 3 straight state tournament appearances. And a dead ball rebound to the Millers. Como Park never played in this game. Well, and for many years, John Robinson has been with the program for several years, and he's always had to run up against St. Paul Central. This year they split, and that's how Como Park got into this, because they didn't lose to anybody else. Oh, great high-low play, but once again, Washburn with the possession arrow, but Downing losing her footing, and another missed opportunity down low.
That's a killer right there, because you're attacking the 1-2-2 zone of Como Park the way you should. You're just losing concentration down there. She has to keep her head up. You know, she'll get another opportunity.
Shepard, 14-footer, can't get the bounce. Aundrea Adams with the rebound.
VanNett.
And Aundrea Adams, if she's not scoring from the floor, we've noted this before, she can slash her way to the rim and get free throws.
Well, it's very interesting. I thought that 1-2-2 zone that Washburn was playing kind of stifled Como Park, slowed them down a little bit, and they come out here in the second half in the man-to-man, and now you got Adams on the free throw line. And I'm sure that's what she's been waiting for, a little one-on-one isolation action.
Adams was averaging about 16, 17 points per game. Started her varsity career at Minneapolis South in 7th grade under Emil Jihad, then moved to Edison. And since then, played for Como Park because of her unwavering loyalty to John Robinson. Both parents are longtime friends. Well, John and I should say Andrea's father, Patrick Adams. And folks were asking me, well, hang on to that thought. And who got that? That was Hannah Heineman with the bucket.
I think she was playing in the JV game earlier.
Washburn played in all 3 levels. Caitlin Jones missed it there.
Come up with a big rebound.
And that's going to be a foul on Adams, her second. That will send Cheyenne Wesley to the line, and Wesley has made Washburn's only free throw thus far. They were 1 of 7 in the first half. 1 of 8, I should say. And Jasmine Patterson went 0 for 6 in that stretch. Rain Adams and Jasmine Thomas, not to be confused with the WNBA player of the same name, going in for the Cougars. Wonder what they're talking about. I'm sure you've been in a few of those conversations. You probably have a few ideas of what they could. Wesley splitting there. 2 of 10. Jerdrum, I don't know if that was meant to be a shot.
It sure didn't look like one.
Wesley kicks out. Renikoff on the drive. She's short. The rebound is tapped to Patterson. It goes off her leg.
Well, you see Washburn still speeding up. And, you know, that's by design from Como Park.
I was going to say with Aundrea Adams, a couple of folks had talked to me wondering would she consider playing for another team that has a better chance of winning a state tournament, but her dedication and just her commitment to John Robinson is too much to consider other offers. And there's something to be said. Well, there's something to be said about Wesley reading the pass, getting in the lane, and oh my.
Made that a little tougher than what it had to be.
This has not been a polished game. Aundrea Adams is making all the tough shots look easy. Gonna say with her, there's something to be said about being that player that revitalizes a program. It may not be, I mean, sure, you could go to a Park Center or De La Salle, or South has had a couple of good years and know you're going to get a lot of wins. But Rain Adams gets the lucky bounce. Well, you've got your younger sister there to provide that mentee relationship, but I was going to say, being a part of a program and helping it ascend from to levels they haven't experienced before is also just as gratifying.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see that they're still around. You know, AAU climate, people switch and change. There's a lot of communication going around. People want to play with each other. It's just the way it is now in high school basketball.
Well, and you have some examples. Emma Shepard, bullseye. One that comes to mind is one of your graduates, Kenesha Bell. She stuck around during the coaching transition and having a great freshman season at Marquette, and didn't win a state title, but got very close, and even so, just persistence paying off. And here's Renikoff. 15-footer is good, and Washburn on a quick surge.
Well, as you can see, that coincides with what they're playing on defense now. They started in that man, which was kind of puzzling to me, but now they're back in the 1-2-2, and they've forced 2 straight turnovers. Nearly a third.
And almost a third, but instead a foul is called on Hannah Heineman. Heineman, the 5'11" freshman forward. And if you're wondering why Tyler hung around, because a lot of coaches who lead their offspring, they tend to leave when their kids do. He has a younger daughter, Kendall, and a son and another one on the way. So he said he's not leaving for a while. He wants to lead Kendall. Aundrea Adams with the worst shot you can take, but it goes in, and I guess that's not the worst shot you can take if it does.
No, she's a shot maker.
I don't think it doesn't matter where she is on the floor. She'll take it if she senses an advantage. Here's Wesley going again. Can't bank it. Rain Adams with the rebound, going to Aundrea. Oh, nice pass. Oh, that's a travel. Thomas took a couple baby steps there, and that happens sometimes. You get a little jumpy.
I wish Washburn would just settle down and, maybe get a post touch. They have the size advantage. They're in a man. Emma Shepard looked like she has the size advantage. Smith.
And this is a team that they've had a great season. They had that big win over Holy Angels. They recovered from the Holy Family loss. They're 21-5, and mistakes happen, but you wonder. I'm thinking to myself, perhaps a little more poise.
Oh, they just left her.
Ouch. I guess they cancel each other out. They're both missing the high-low play, but you're right. They left Baker alone. Shepard can't put it in. Renikoff, no. Aundrea Adams using her length to get the rebound. She gets trapped up.
Here we go.
And things are getting wild.
Slow them down.
37-32 in favor of the Cougars. Shepard again. No, Zellner-Smith on the weak side. Renikoff to Zellner-Smith. And nobody down low that time. It always baffled me. I know it's about positioning, but those moments where everybody abandons the paint, as John Robinson going to use one of those timeouts. He had plenty remaining. It's not like they used any. Right. Some of that's positioning, but when you take a shot and there's nobody down low to help, I wonder, do they wait to try to send somebody down there, or what goes into that thought process?
You got me on that. I mean, this game right here is, is just up and down, fast pace, not much set. It's not particularly fun to watch. Well, it's fun to watch. It's not easy to watch, as a coach. There's one-handed passes. You got people crawling over each other's backs. Maybe that's the way this is going to be determined. And by now, I guess so. But I still think the winner of this game is going to be able to execute some half-court offense, start getting people in foul trouble, and get to the line and hit free throws.
You wonder, perhaps they're don't want to say experimenting, but VanNett missed the pass there.
And as I say that, it's a one-handed pass.
It's the last game. If they're trying something before they start playoffs, since they get the extra game, I don't know, but this is.
Well, and that's possible because I guarantee they know who they're playing in the first round. Those opponents out here are scouting.
Well, and I've seen Chris Vanderheide, the Park Center head coach. He's here since he could get Como in the bracket. It wouldn't be until the third round. But Park Center and Como not playing each other this year. Jump ball, Como with the arrow, and John Robinson showing his elation.
That was just some good on-ball pressure right there.
And Washburn again having to find a new source of leadership after Chase Coley left Como Park with a pretty young core outside of Adams. As you mentioned, you play in this extra game. There's a little pride here. It gets a little nervous. Aundrea Adams recovered her dribble. Kick out to Tucker. That comes up short. Washburn with numbers. Wesley.
Well, Washburn's had opportunities, I'll tell you.
And I think at Como, well, I don't know if Baker touched it. I couldn't see it, but I thought from here, if they let it go, it'd be a rebound their way.
Here I look for Renikoff.
Well,
I thought she was going to be able to come off a screen once she passed it in, but
an overpass instead. Adams, that was a tough shot, but you saw she drew the double team. And that's something I imagine they'll be working on as Emma Shepard draws the foul next year, because now that people are aware of Aundrea Adams going from a solid player to a phenomenal one in this next AAU season and the next senior season or her high school season, they'll probably work on how to escape those double teams that are likely going to come her way. Here's Emma Shepard. Shepard, 90% free throw shooter coming into this game, 54 of 60. And that'll help Washburn's numbers a bit. They were 2 of 10 beforehand. 37-34 in favor of the Cougars. VanNett from the corner. That's off the mark. And Washburn, they've had a couple of weeks to actually prepare for this. The Minneapolis City Conference schedule finished early. George Summer, ran into the one-on-one and tried to take it herself, came up empty there. Here's Patterson, and she travels. Washburn had a couple of weeks to prepare for this, so I guess I'm a little surprised that we've seen this kind of sloppy play, because the Minneapolis City Conference, they ended their schedule a while ago, and Washburn's last game was Tuesday against Heritage Christian, so not only did they know they were going to host this, they've had a few days to prepare for. Como Park having a quicker turnaround, playing Johnson on Thursday, needing to win that to get that extra game.
Right, well, I'm sure the coaches got them prepared, but easier said than done.
Unless you're Aundrea Adams, you'll find a way to score.
Well, as you can see, she got it in the middle there, so now they put her back in the middle of that zone and she can attack.
And it helps that they were able to get the ball to her. Here's Zellner Smith out to Renikoff for 3. No, but the high carom goes to Heineman.
Got to communicate there. 2 of them went for it.
Might work on volleyball, but not here. Olivia Downing, though, gets 2 points out of the possession.
See, they got VanNett, probably their second best ball handler, and they put Adams right there at the top of the key in the middle of those 4. Now she comes out.
Baker. Baker's had a tough game. VanNett, Washburn has really kept an eye on her since that first half. They find Adams. Here comes the double again. And it works. And Zellner Smith, she's had a tough game. That basket might help her cause. 9:30 left, 39-38.
That might have been a situation where Adams was trying to do a little too much there. Now get some ball reversal against this zone here.
Tucker, deep three. Aundrea Adams playing cornerback there. And she draws the foul on Renikoff.
That'll be her third, I think.
That will be her third. Adams would make a great secondary if she were playing football. I mean, that was a clean pass. She read it, and just a clean catch. I mean, deflections are great, but I love it when you can make a steal, and that's deflected off Washburn. I love it you can get a steal, and there's no doubt that you're going to get it. .906 left in regulation. VanNett. No, Rain Adams with the O-board. They go to Adams. She has a hole. Not for long. Rain Adams is there. She'll back off. Washburn trapping. And John Robinson going to call a timeout. Rain Adams was in a precocious scenario, and I don't blame Robinson for bailing her out there.
Yeah, you play into a 1-2-2 zone, or any zone for that matter, as far as when you don't have your head up, you're not looking for the outlets, and you're just dribbling there the corners, because those are the trap zone areas. So yeah, good timeout right there. Maybe he could draw something up on the board as far as attacking that 1-2-2.
Now, we mentioned earlier the still wanting to be in the South Suburban. I guess now that your regular season is done, what do you make of the Metro East or Metro West? There is a Metro East too, but your first year there, you got some familiar faces, some new opponents. What do you make of that conference, and how do you approach that as a coach?
Well, Chanhassen kind of ran away with it, but like we were talking earlier, they ended up losing to Cooper to put a blemish on their undefeated conference record. But overall, I mean, we playing some different teams, a couple 3A teams sprinkled in there. I think it'll get better as we go. I was outspoken before we made the move that I wanted to stay in the South Suburban, but what can you do now? I'm just going to make the best of it and, try to Richfield to be a nice geographical rivalry for us, Jefferson obviously, and then to play Chaska and Chanhassen, is sort of like a South Suburban team, so.
They were once in there, and Cooper led by Kiara Buford in her first season. Traveling violation on George Summer.
Yeah, and talking about Buford, she did a pretty good job in my opinion. She was put into a kind of a tricky situation, getting hired late. Some girls with some discipline issues over there, but I think she had a calming effect on them, and to pull off an upset was pretty nice late in the season against Chanhassen.
Zellner Smith was fouled from behind, and Buford's situation is similar to Maya Johnson over at Edison, taking over a team where they don't always, the basketball culture isn't cultivated that well, and you're coming in with not just the obstacle of how to scout against opponents, you're also coming in with how you also have to convince your players that you believe in them and then get them to subscribe to your system, and that's not always easy. And getting that win against Chanhassen, as you mentioned, the top team in that conference, and a pretty good squad in 4A.
Well, she came in with that, she had a winning pedigree as far as playing in high school. And then, had a pretty good Big Ten career. So right there, that commands respect.
Zellner Smith getting a couple of friendly bounces from the rim, but Washburn takes a 1-point lead.
Here we go, got Adams in the middle again.
She's trapped again. Goes to Aundrea. Jump ball, Washburn with the arrow, and
the trouble Como Parker's having now, they have size up on the top of the zone, Washburn does. So it's not as easy to pass, over the top or around them. Como Parker's going to have to recognize that and adjust.
Ray Adams a little too wild there and gives up the foul.
Well, as I said that, it'll help Como Park if Washburn continues to turn the ball over.
And how many times, I mean, Washburn having plenty of opportunities, it has been a very ugly game in terms of finesse for the Millers. Where previous years and even last year's matchup, you could go to Chase down low and you'd be all right. It's a little harder now with the Gatorade Player of the Year now playing for the Hawkeyes. They'll wrap up their season tomorrow against the Gophers. Another scramble for the ball. It will go into the hands. Well, we still don't know. Finally goes to Washburn.
This will be a big shot if they can hit it.
Lucia Renikoff just inside the elbow. And Washburn up by 3. VanNett has not scored in the second half. I think has had just one shot, and Adams has been contained. Yes, she has 19, but Washburn not letting her explode. But Zellner Smith commits her 4th personal foul.
It looks like Coley is saying a wraparound, a hook. Should have been called there on Adams. Not going to get it. Very seldom do the refs change their mind.
I don't.
Or ever.
Once they make their ruling, you know, unless there's a discussion beforehand, they're not changing it. But now Washburn's got to go smaller here with Zellner Smith at 4 fouls. Rain Adams. Again, no good. VanNett. Got it for 2. That's her first field goal. And if VanNett can get her shot going, Rain Adams still going for the steals. As you mentioned, if she can learn some control, and that's not to say she's an out of control or wild player, you know, she is a very feisty persona, but if she can polish that a little bit, and
look at that.
Well, she's going to get hit with a 4th personal foul there, like there. If she can learn to control those things, I could see her having a big year next year.
Exactly. You know, you get into the laboratory, as we say, all summer long. You know, work on the fundamentals, and because that's really what she's lacking right now, ball handling and stuff like that. But when I see her bouncing around there, especially on defense, she reminds me of a point guard I had. You know, but obviously not as polished, but defensively, she's all over the place.
Well, and that it's not. It can be a gradual process. High Karam is tipped to Renikoff after Shepard missed. 6:15 to go, 1-point game. Bounce pass to Downing. She can't handle it.
That Como Park is doing a good job of just creating turnovers with their hectic play. Nice
Adams.
find.
Short. Caitlin Jones fouled from behind. Jones hasn't played much. We noted this in our last broadcast. Headed to Florida A&M next year. Does the Genesis Works. Would like to find a career in marketing with an emphasis on IT, and she also officiates youth games. Finished that up a couple weeks ago. She's going to miss this group, really bonded with the team in the 3 years she's had here, but she mentioned graduation just means that she's moving on and growing, and she's going to be sad, but she's ready to take on the next level. She splits there and ties this game up at 42 with 6 to play. Emma Shepard.
Wow.
That's a late foul on Jones. And she gets teed up. That's going to put her up to 4.
Yeah, you can't do that in a game of this caliber. Calls are going to go both ways. I mean,
that also puts Como Park in the penalties, so Washburn in the bonus for the remainder of this one. So Jones with 4 fouls now because technicals count as personals in this level.
Well, that might be her 5th. It looked like
Oh, it is. The scoreboard has her at 5.
Yeah, she has.
So she fouls out of the game with 1 point. That's not the first time that's happened. I covered the year before you came, you took over at Kennedy. I covered Prairie Seeds match at the Richfield tournament, and one of their players fouled out due to a technical. And actually earlier this season, Olivia Sherva at Anoka did the same thing. She got teed up, and that technical disqualified her from the game, and Park Center held on to win. And that's a tough way to go.
Well, it is, and now she missed the first, but Shepherd is 90% free throw, as you said earlier. But now they're putting Renikoff. She's probably shooting the same.
And Washburn will get the ball.
And they'll get the ball. And
it's a tough way to go, and it's something. I don't know if you've run into that at Kennedy, but you have to stress you got to keep your emotions in check, especially since those technical fouls count against you.
Well, I talk about it all the time. You got to be an even kill. You go up, but you got to get it back down to even. If you go down low, you got to come back up. But always got to be in control.
Washburn making 3 of 4. So they have a 3-point lead, and they get the ball with 5:52 to play. Caitlin Jones fouled out of the game, finishes with 1 point.
Yeah, but she was one of the better rebounders today.
And now
as far as enforcing things down there.
Yeah, they're without a strong defensive anchor. And Jazane Patterson traveled. That's a tough way to end that possession. You had a chance of going up by 2 possessions and taking a big lead here, and now you keep Como Park around.
Well, win or lose, Washburn's going to have to do a better job going in the tournament as far as limiting turnovers.
And the team they're facing in the first round was a team that beat them by 20. Aundrea Adams.
I got
up to 22.
I got a feeling this last 5 minutes is going to be her time.
Heineman draws a late foul. And we talk about Adams struggling. For anyone else, 22 points would be a great game. Almost anyone else. Maybe not unless you were Carly Wagner or Rebecca Dahlman, but things are a little different over there. But here's Heineman with 2 big free throws, and she misses the first one. This is her first attempt, her first trip to the free throw line all season.
Wow. Welcome to the Twin Cities Championship.
Welcome to varsity play. She makes the back end, so that gives Washburn a 1-point lead. Washburn at 10 of 20, get a lot of early misses from Jazane Patterson. We'll see if that comes into play here. 46-45 with 5 minutes to go. VanNett from the elbow. Can't get the bounce. Baker with the rebound. Smart didn't like it, so she backed
open
up.
Look.
Well, you're not going to fault Adams for taking that shot. Renikoff. Pure! Renikoff, great 3-point shooter, 53.2.
Well, they did a better as they leave the back door open. Washburn did a better job on that last possession of just taking their time and finding a shooter. You know, and I think Como Park a little bit of momentum left after the technical foul situation.
I would say Renikoff will get some great leadership under Ruth Sin next year. VanNett, she's fouled and will shoot 3, and it's on Renikoff. I think that's her 3rd.
No, I think that's going to be her 4th, isn't it?
Well, you have a better eye than I do. That's why you're coaching.
Well, I'm involved in it. You know, you got to keep that mental bank.
You won't have to play these teams in sections, but you still take notes. So Renikoff picking up her 4th. She and Zellner-Smith now 1 away, and VanNett shooting 3. And
that's a huge development right there.
like you said, that's the quarterback of the team, and VanNett is no slouch herself. VanNett, 60% free throw shooter, and again, the finer details will come to her, but she makes all 3 here.
It looked like a 90% free throw shooter to me.
They all look good, didn't touch rim.
I'm just very impressed with her. First time seeing her.
And
awesome.
We're back to a 1-point game. Shepherd missed, followed her own shot, and a jump ball. Como with the arrow. 4:14 left. Washburn has 4 timeouts. Como has 2. These last 4 minutes could be a marathon.
Well, I was just saying how it looked like Como Park has lost the momentum after taking a foul, but every 30 seconds, something's changed.
It's been that kind of a game. But that says something. Even if Como Park isn't the most talented, they've been able to hang with some of these tougher teams they struggled with a year ago.
Well, they're overloading the zone right now. They got 4 players on one side here.
They could get to that weak side, or they'll find an open Andrayah, but that's going to be short. Rain, blocked from behind, didn't see, and that's her 5th. Rain Adams out of the game. A great defensive asset, but as you said, has to work on the fundamentals, and that will come with time.
If she
getting in the lab.
If she dedicates herself, it's just amazing. I'm looking at her now. She just looks like a young Kadisha Bell, even physically. She has a great future.
Maybe you should send her some tapes.
Send her
some of your Kennedy tapes, or you know what? The Big East tournament's coming up. See if you can get her to tune in.
Definitely. It'll be televised, Fox Sports 1.
Olivia Downing missed 1 of 2, so it's just a 2-point margin. Washburn at 50%. Overall, VanNett, contact was made, no foul, but it will stay with Como.
So Tyler has Renikoff out right now.
Trying to avoid the 5th foul. Even though Como Park has lost a couple of their players, they still have their top one.
Yeah, but you're kind of that gray area, I guess.
Adams, well, she's not going to give up. And that's a foul on Washburn. Both teams are in the penalty. 3:30 to go. And we'll see Monique Baker. Baker had a few chances to keep Como Park in contention against Maranatha. Missed several free throws late. Missed enough and that made the difference here. She makes the first one. And she took that hard. Como Park was in position to win that game. Got a little down on herself, but as you know, especially in inter-class games, the outcome, you want to win, but there's a bigger picture ahead.
Without a question.
Baker splits.
See if Washburn could get into a set here. Well,
Wesley open. No! And Como Park tapped it, going with the volleyball move. They mentioned that you don't want to play the block in volleyball because you want to try to get the rebound. You want to use the soft touch. Emma Shepard, that was for 2. And Baker wins the rebound. 3:13 left.
Well, here you run into the problem. You have to be able to execute on the half court late in games because you run some time off and you get the defense to overcommit and you'll get an easier look.
Washburn with the arrow there.
I don't know. Como Park's got to save that possession, maybe call a timeout there.
.251 to go. And
with the pace of this game, we could have probably 50 possessions.
Who's going to step up? It's a 1-point game, so Washburn can't play too conservatively here. He has one mistake, and we're looking the other way. Good ball movement. That'll get Shepard to the line.
Hey, works like magic. Get a couple passes here and there, reverse the zone. Shooting 2.
That's the 3rd on Thomas, and you see an example of what good passing can get you. We've seen some ill-advised passing today, but that was a good sequence by Washburn. And Shepard's going to get some points out of it. Shepard at 9.6 points per game this season. 3.9 rebounds per game. Missed a couple late though, but the rebound won by Zellner Smith. Oh my goodness! Heineman misses, Renikoff gets it. Washburn up by 4, and Como Park having trouble penetrating inside. Not that time. Finally, the high-low, the deep high-low from Adams to Baker pays off. It's a 2-point game again. 53-51.
Running a cutter through here.
With 2 minutes to go. Wesley, 14-footer is high. Rebound won by the Millers. Shepard, runner, gets the bounce. And this will be where perhaps experience plays a role. Washburn, they've been in this situation. They've been in back-to-back state tournaments. Could get a third appearance, who knows. Como, this is uncharted territory.
Yeah, I felt they bailed Washburn out there. I didn't think they had to go that early as far as their offense getting the shot up, but they gave up the offensive rebound, get it back around, and there you get one of your seniors making a big shot.
Now you're Como Park, there's still a lot of time left, 4-point margin. I think everybody is aware that Adams is going to be monitored, but what do you draw up in this situation?
Well, I expect Washburn to stay in the 1-2-2. It's giving them problems. They just got beat on that little lob over the top there, so I suspect that they're going to clean that up in the timeout. But they have to get a touch. They got VanNett in the middle now, but hopefully they can try maybe get Adams in there, because I really feel her three is not falling because they're contested in tough threes, but somehow it has to go inside and then it has to come out.
And for Washburn, it would be a sense of relief, perhaps. They came close with Central last year, came up a few points short. Chelsea Kizart making that great play to seal that one for the Minutemen. And Central would parlay that into another state tournament appearance. Getting there could be a little tougher this year, but Central's had a long program. Washburn, though, would love to win one of these things.
Okay, so VanNett is in the middle. They're leaving that back open because they can't see.
VanNett's in trouble. Washburn just overloading.
Oh, they let her out.
Tucker, that would have been a big three. Baker. Oh, well, she'll have to shoot free throws here. But you saw both Adams and Baker go for it at the same time.
Yeah, both teams are struggling right now, finding bodies to box out and second chance opportunities, kind of deciding this game late.
Baker makes the first, so it's a one-possession game again.
Be interesting to see if Como Park, they haven't showed it yet, but maybe some full court pressure.
Baker, not the best of free throw shooters. She's made a couple here, though, and on offense, 4.4 entering this matchup.
Here we go, offensive rebound here. A little too deep for VanNett.
Well, and good awareness by Adams. Como in the double bonus now, so she drew the foul, so she'll shoot 2 free throws, and it stops the clock with 1:19 left, extending the game. Do we see an overtime here? We had a double overtime in the boys' game last week. I wasn't able to attend, but Johnson beating North 123-119, the highest scoring game in state history, and, well, I wasn't there because I ended up covering another double overtime game. Aundrea Adams would love to see that if it comes to it. Makes both free throws. She's up to 24, and it's a 1-point margin. 1:15 left.
So they're sitting in a 1-2-2 little zone here, see if they want to trap. There it is.
1 minute to go, and they get the backcourt violation.
Once again, half court, you got to be able to execute in the half court. But when you have a game like this where Como Park just sped you up the entire game, now you got to switch gears and slow it down. You know, you lose that momentum.
John Robinson was under Willie Taylor's watch for many years at St. Paul Central, then took the job after his daughter graduated. Aundrea Adams sees the hole and gives Como Park the lead.
Might want to call a timeout here and draw something up. Get what you want, get it in the right person's hands.
They have 3 remaining. Remember, Washburn didn't use that last timeout against Central. You remember a year ago, and that led to the fast break play by Kizart. That's a kick ball by Adams, 31.6.
Yeah, definitely. There, Coach Percy Wade is making them.
He wants Tyler to
lobbying.
call. He can't call timeout.
Right, he can't, but
he wants Tyler to do it, but it looks like he's going to hang on to it.
There it is.
Like you said a year ago, you don't take your timeouts with you at the end of a game.
and if it goes in overtime, they'll give you another.
Right.
You know.
They give you an extra one. So 31.6, and well, Washburn still has 2 left. Como has 2 left. They're up by 1, 56-55. And what about that last play by Adams? Defense was drawn out because that's where Washburn was successful, and Adams finally made them pay for it inside.
Well, one difference that I saw what they did there is they sent VanNett out of the middle but over to the right side there, and they actually set a ball screen on the zone, which a lot of teams don't do. And then they put a shooter in the corner. The defense stayed home on a shooter, which allowed the open lane for Adams, and the help on the backside was late recovery.
This would be a good time to get some popcorn for this.
Exactly. Oh, no. I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm glad you asked me. This is getting me pumped up for Wednesday. Playoff time is here.
Well, just make sure your popcorn is concealed. I saw you had a little trouble with the popcorn.
So we got out of bounds play here. I gotta believe Renikoff will have something to do with this.
It's a 1-point margin. There she is. No. The rebound is won by Adams. Gets it off to Thomas, and John Robinson did not hesitate at all.
That was an excellent timeout right there, because what happens is now Washburn has the foul. You can make sure you get it in the hands of your best free throw shooter.
Well, contrast here, John Robinson, more willing to use those timeouts, and Tyler Coley, he had to get some prodding from your predecessor to call one. But
myself as a coach, I like to use them early and then late. That first 5 minutes is, you can see how teams or how the game is going to progress as far as styles. So you want to use a timeout early. Then after that, if you save them, then you got to use a lot of them late, because each possession means so much. You have to constantly, you got to remember, these are young kids. You got to constantly remind them of things we need to do, where it needs to go, what your role is.
30 seconds left, and Aundrea Adams, who gave Como Park what is now the go-ahead basket, gets a lot of encouragement, not just from Robinson. Jermaine Davis joined the staff this year. He had a great prep career of his own, and he's been instrumental. And another player who's been involved in this, Daniel Ellison, played in many Twin Cities games for St. Paul Central, got to a few state tournaments, but has been with Como Park the last few years. John Robinson has surrounded himself with some folks who had success and understand what it takes to get there. And then you could say the same for Tyler Coley, getting the 2005 4A state champion.
Yeah.
After he left the Kennedy job.
So, yeah, they're doubling up here on Adams. They don't want her to get it, but VanNett has proven that she can shoot free throws as well, and they're going to just let her get it.
There's the clock starting. They're going to play foul and chase here. They're playing foul and chase.
Yeah,
but you're in the backcourt, I suppose. It's like, why?
Well, they didn't even give any resistance.
They didn't give. I could see your point. At the same time, you have enough time where why not try to get a steal, and if that doesn't work, then make the foul.
Well, exactly, because with VanNett and Adams, you have your best passers. They're not passing it in. You got an inexperienced girl there. She could panic, and throw it away. Well, she just has to settle down here as a ninth grader. She's been proving us wrong all night. Now, let's see if she can step up.
Missed both.
Oh, a turnover.
Aundrea Adams has it and gets the 5th foul on Zellner Smith.
You have to box out in that situation.
Zellner Smith, her prep career not the most illustrious. She's been a solid contributor for that team, but she fouls out of the game with 18.8 left. Now, 2 free throws coming, and you have the state's top scorer at the line. It's worth noting that even if both, and that was the case with VanNett, it's still a 1-possession game.
Well, here's Tyler Coley. He did this against us earlier. Used a foul out situation as a timeout.
Well, you get 30 seconds, so effectively it's a free timeout. Not the one you're hoping for, but
right.
You're allotted the 30 seconds, and I don't blame coaches for using them. At the very least, it gives your kids a chance to recharge and settle down a bit, because this is a very intense situation. Wow.
Hey, as they say, percentages go down late in the game. Washburn they need to box out here. They cannot afford another missed rebound opportunity here.
Adams makes the back end, so a 2 ties it, a 3 could win it.
Now this is a good move here. They've got some pressure, make them use a little time.
Well, Tyler Coley's going to use another one of his timeouts. He had 2 left. Now he's down to 1. Remember that last time he had 1 timeout left?
Oh man, it was killing me over here.
Washburn had the ball, 2-point, same situation, 2-point deficit. Tyler held on to that last timeout. Kizart with the steal and the coast-to-coast finish, and that gave St. Paul Central the 4-point win. Well, he's got 14 seconds left, so if things don't work out, does he use that last time?
Well, it's not a guarantee either way.
I'm laughing because of here we are repeating ourselves.
Yeah, well, it's not a guarantee either way. I mean, you could call a timeout and still commit a turnover, but you just know that you're not missing anything, and you make sure that the right person has it, and we're going to the right people as far as off screens or whatever you're drawing up over there on that board. And then also you could put in, if we miss, what do we need to do? Or if we make, what defense do we need to get back in? I mean, you can cover 2-3 possessions right away there in a timeout that's fresh in the girls' heads.
Now, Lucia Renikoff unofficially have got her at 20. Probably your best shooter, Emma Shepard, she has 14. I would expect one of those two to take that shot with 14.2 to go.
Well, sideline out of bounds player, they got a box set they're getting out of. I suspect Lucia will come up off some screen to get the ball. We'll see after that. They might just clear out for isolation.
14.2, both teams in the double bonus, so any foul gets 2 free throws automatically. Downing, got it!
He's gonna let them just go here. With the zone, I don't know. You gotta go.
Steal.
Oh. Guess who used the timeout?
He's not hanging on to it this time.
And that saved it, because that would have been an interception as far as that pass.
Oh wait, so Coma Park called the timeout?
No. Washburn called it before they made the pass, attacking back the other side. Adams intercepted it, but the referees ruled that Tyler Coley called the timeout before the pass.
But they're going to probably put some time back on the clock. 1.4 left. Let's see what they do. I would think they put on a few tenths back.
Well, I don't know how they can.
Well, and this is tough. There's no video review system, so this is all based on observation. Well, they're going to put 1.7 back on. 3 seconds. Well,
they did. Well, there's a chance that one of the refs are actually looking at the clock.
And with 3 officials there, as Washburn used their last timeout, well, Tyler Coley, he's not going to repeat himself from, well, at least not in this instance. We could be seeing overtime here, but Downing with a big basket.
Well, I was just going to make a comment on that. Let's go back to that. I mean, we're sitting here saying Renikoff or Shepard, and Downing hits a jumper on us.
Downing at 7.
So now we're kind of in the same situation here. But I see they have Renikoff on that side. They ran her off a double flex. They might have her popping up the top off a double bridge screen up here with 12 Shepard and 32 there.
3.1 seconds, a thrilling Twin Cities championship. Let's see what happens.
There she goes.
They're looking for Renikoff.
They go to the screener.
Downing off the mark. And 0.4 of a second. You can't call a timeout and advance the ball. I think Como's going to let the clock run out. And they do. Well, the Twin Cities Boys Championship went to overtime. Only fitting that the girls do the same. 57-57 at the end of regulation. Olivia Downing with a huge clutch make from the baseline. Not who we expected, and she's the reason we're going to get 4 extra minutes.
Well, what happened there? I mean, you got to execute something in the half court. They get an open shot. Obviously, she was not the first option, but they took that away. But they did a good job of getting it to who they need to get to off of that second, third option, and she knocked down a shot. I mean, you still have to knock it down with pressure on, so credit to her as far as making that. Moving forward here to this overtime, I think what it might come down to is who's going to be able to get along without players that have fouled out. It's 2 Como Park there, and then you got Zellner Smith in foul. And you got to remember now, Renikoff still has 4.
So, yeah, let's recap that situation. Caitlin Jones is out, hit with a technical. Rain Adams is out. As you mentioned, Kendra Zellner Smith. Lucia Renikoff has 4 fouls. Both teams in the double bonus, so any foul that's not a player control is 2 free throws automatically.
Well, it's going to come down.
And both teams get 1 extra timeout. So Washburn will have 1, Como will have 2.
They felt themselves out. I mean, now, who can rebound the best as far as boxing out, not giving up the second chance, and taking care of the ball is going to win this game.
And we've seen so many twists and turns and crazy sequences that it's hard to say who could come out on this, because both teams have shown some great plays. They've shown some head scratchers. This is how about Mikayla VanNett, who you talked about, a freshman? This bonus game. This is Como Park's first overtime session of the year, and Aundrea Adams, what can she do?
VanNett has had a solid game all the way around, but Adams is the best player on the floor.
She got the hell ball. So that's going to go to Washburn since Como won the tip.
I have to question that one.
You're allowed to do that up here.
Well, exactly. You got to have tie up for at least more than a second, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. And Washburn has some big playmakers. Olivia Downing has been representing that role as of late. She hits the elbow J and gives Washburn the lead.
See, they screen that right side again.
And a calm, collected jumper for Aundrea Adams. She's up to 29. That's what I've got her at unofficially. I don't know if she'll threaten that career mark of 49. Patterson, that would have been a big 3. Instead, it's a jump ball. Como with the arrow this time.
Yeah, I don't know if we want her taking that shot right there. Coach Coley might, and then as I say that, they're talking to her right now.
Especially that quick in a possession.
Well, that's hard for kids. They want to play the hero ball,
and you want to win the game.
You want to win the game, but you have to be smart. You got to put it in the right people's hands. And once again, you got a ball screen on the right side.
Adams, bullseye!
And she is taking advantage of it.
Adams off the screen, had just enough space for the tray.
Well, that was the big adjustment they made.
5 points in this overtime session. Heineman, too strong. Patterson, board! Oh! And there's a good friend of mine, Gina Villarreal, through here. Big North supporter, but one of her friends is Patrick Adams, and has been doing a lot for Como as well. But here's 2 big free throws for Jazanay Patterson. 0 for 6. 0 for 7. That's her first make.
Well, let's see if they go back to this ball screen over here. Washburn has to make an adjustment on that. Maybe go underneath the screen instead of fighting through it.
Washburn unofficially 12 of 24 from the free throw line. Como Park 15 of 23. Remember all those misses early on we talked about? Any one of them, and we might have a different score.
Are you kidding me?
Aundrea Adams pumping her fist in jubilation. She has scored 7 points in this overtime session. And we have 2:15 to go. Como up by 4. But it's not over yet. Washburn has some sharpshooters. There's one of them, but she draws the double. Downing again. Can't get the bounce. Heineman. Oh, that was close.
Well, Washburn can't panic here. Settle down. On the pace of this game, you're going to get plenty of chances.
And there's 2:03 left, and both teams in the double bonus, so any foul stops the clock. But you're right, 2:03, a lot of time left. Plenty of time to make up.
Here we go. We got Renikoff coming off a screen here. If they could get it up top. There it is in the corner.
Drives to the rim. Can't get the reverse. Wesley wins the battle for the rebound and draws the foul. And I think that's on Adams. If so, that's her fourth. It is. So this game just got a lot more interesting. Adams with 4. Renikoff with 4, and, well, John Robinson's not going to take her out of the game now. But Washburn leaving points at the free throw line. And free throw shooting is not always reliable at high school, but I think Tyler Coley would like to do better than 50%.
Yes.
13 of 26.
Now it's interesting that they're staying in the 1-2-2. They got the 2 ball screens on both sides now. Como Park. Let's see what type of adjustment they make.
Adams again.
Do a better job of corralling her.
Off the screen for VanNett. What a beauty!
Whoa, you know, they chose not to let Adams do it that time because, and you pick your poison, I guess.
But a foul on Baker, that's going to stop the clock with 1:29 and send Olivia Downing to the line.
How about VanNett?
21 points.
Just calm.
And coming off the 31-point effort against Johnson.
The composure. And ready to shoot. Adams, good job of not forcing it, having trust in her. Washburn chose to stay on the shooters to allow Adams to get in. Now they had to adjust because Adams was killing them inside. Pop it back out. That's good basketball right there.
Olivia Downing with 4.4 points per game, one of 3 academic All-State candidates for the Millers. But she splits there. They've been stuck at 50% for most of this. Now Como Park has a little more luxury. The other academic All-State candidates are Meg Healy and Lucia Renikoff for Washburn. Wanted to get those in because that's always a proud achievement to have. But right now, Como Park, well, they got it to somebody who not named Adams or VanNett. That's Autumn Tucker. And she'll have to shoot 2. And Tucker, this season, 50%, 13 of 26. She averages 5.5 a game. That is Autumn Tucker's first point of this one.
I'll tell you what, Como Park is really impressing me as far as just the scrappiness that they possess. I know Park Center is taking a look at that.
And a dead ball O-board to the Cougars.
And that scrappiness right on cue.
And our camera guy is going to retrieve the ball.
Pays dividends. So now, though, let's see if Como Park can run a little clock here, you know. Oh, that's...
They're running some clock, but looking a little out of control. Tucker for the dagger. That's going to be an air ball.
Oh, she didn't know it. It was actually deflected off a block shot, but a Como Park tried to save it, stepped out of bounds.
And in that situation, that's tough to see.
It is, and that's a credit to them. They're aggressive. They're going to go after every ball. Can't fault that in a kid.
1 minute to go. Washburn needs points, and they need them soon.
That's very risky.
And as you noted throughout this game, Washburn has had some moments, but overall, Como Park has forced them to play a quick tempo, one that perhaps may have worked a year ago with Chase Coley, but a little tougher to pull off here.
Right.
Shepard, a big three-pointer, and it's a three-point margin.
Wow.
But Washburn's going to need at least one stop. And they don't want to foul Adams.
There's the ball screen.
And an offensive foul. That's on George Summer for the illegal screen, I believe.
Well,
so
she's pretty small down there. She was trying to get out of the way, but that's where it pays dividends to have a bigger kid setting that screen. And Tyler Coley's been lobbied for that call since they started doing it.
He got it there.
She got the right.
Renikoff, but that's off of Como. I like the move in the sense that you didn't need a three right away, but you still have. How long do you want to play foul and
they're
chase?
leaving Shepard.
Patterson out to Downing. They're going to set up for Renikoff. Off the mark. And that rebound's going to Como. Washburn has to foul here with 21.4 left.
Yes, they should be denying.
If they can't get the steal
Adams.
right away.
And they're not. Yep.
Now they're going to send a full court trap. I think they're going to try to force a steal out of her. And she's just going to maneuver through traffic and run in for the dagger. That was the worst thing you could do.
I have to question
as
that.
Washburn.
You have to deny, you have to foul, you have to extend the game.
But give credit to Adams. She recognized the full court and just weaved through it with the elasticity of Mr. Fantastic.
She took what the defense gave her.
And Washburn is going to come up short for a third straight year in the Twin Cities game. Como Park wins in overtime, 70-65. Aundrea Adams with 9 points in the overtime session. And Como Park, their first trip to the Twin Cities game, gets them a Twin Cities banner. Well, there's a foul. They may put time on the clock, but at this point it would be academic.
Well, I actually think someone stepped out of bounds when they were questioning, had the clock hit the zeros.
And the officials decide to let the game expire. It would have been academic anyway.
Well, they asked Tyler Coley, do we need to put .3 back up there? And he just told them the game.
Aundrea Adams with 35 points and a huge clutch performance in overtime. And how about Mikayla VanNett making some big plays late?
I think more than anything, that was the key to the game, especially early on when Adams was trying to get it going. They did a good job of making her shoot tough shots. She kind of carried them. And then to come back and hit the big three in the corner, I felt was a dagger. I'm just very impressed with her, but you can't walk away from here without being impressed with Adams. She kind of did it all, as far as handling the ball, playing good defense, rebounding, being the fiery leader out there that you need to win a game like this.
And Washburn, they'll have some time to regroup. They get Holy Family again, a team that beat them by 20, so they can't write off a first-round win automatically, but they showed some strides, and I think that if anything, they will get some lessons on how to handle an up-court defense or an up-tempo defense.
Well, right, and this is what you'll see what you're made of as a team, as a coaching staff. You go back to the drawing board, you get back in practice. It hurts to lose a Twin Cities championship for twice in a row, but hey, there's the big dance coming up, and that's the ones you want to get.
And they've been to 2 of those. So we'll try to get a word with Adams and VanNett before we wrap things up. Always great having you here, Quintin, and hopefully we'll see you in state. But Como Park wins 70-65 to claim their first Twin Cities championship.
Yeah, it was good to be here. Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, I am here with Andrayah Adams and Mikayla VanNett. Andrayah, we'll start with you. Washburn contained you throughout regulation, and in overtime, you blow up for 9 points. Where did you find that proverbial second gear?
I didn't really want to lose, so I just did what I had to do, make sure we got the win.
So how challenging and how emotional was it in overtime? Because 2 of your players have fouled out. Kind of rings shades of Maranatha, where you lost some players to foul trouble and that cost you. This time you withstand it. What was the difference?
Just had to play smarter, the people out on the floor. So as long as we played smart, we were going to get the win. Yep.
What does it mean to be a part of this? It's a regular season game as far as the standings are concerned, but Como had never played in this game before, and here you grind out a very tough win in overtime.
It's pretty fun. It's fun making history, and we're planning on keep going. So.
Well, and you've made a lot of history this season, leading the state in scoring, getting 2,000, and a little disappointed you didn't get 50 today, but maybe next year. Well, maybe playoffs or next year. But what has the season been like for you overall?
It's been really fun. It's been good not being hurt, being able to be healthy the whole season.
Thank goodness for healthy hamstrings. On another note, too, big difference this year, Como Park, even if they haven't won all their games, they've been more competitive in those games. Last year against a team like Washburn, a Maranatha, they dominated in those matchups. This time around, you're making them very competitive games. So how do you sense this Como team has evolved from last year to this year?
We have a lot of young energy. Our freshmen have the most energy I've really ever seen. So it's really good to be able to play with my sister and Boo Boo and all those guys. So, yeah.
So how do you feed off that energy?
It's just fun to have somebody, people coming with the same energy as mine. It might not look the same, but I have the same goal, and we want to win the game.
Now you stay here, but one of those sources of energy is Mikayla VanNett. 21 points, and this was coming off your season high against Johnson on Thursday. You've had a great couple of games, so how would you make of this surge of yours?
I don't know. I just really wanted to beat my high score. My high score was, I think, 19, and I was just striving really hard to beat it. And one of these games, I knew I was going to beat it, and I did.
You broke the tie in that overtime, or got that big 3 off a screen from Adams. So how was that play set up, and was that the plan? That was a great play in a clutch situation.
It was just all in motion, and it wasn't really set up, but I just knew that she was gonna drive there, and then so I just went over there to the corner, and she screened the girl and gave me the ball and made the shot.
Tell me, how do you feed off that kind of emotion? Because every time Aundrea makes a big bucket, she's pumping her fist. It's a good thing I'm not down there, or she might punch me out or something like that. But you can tell she's excited, and that just only encourages her and perhaps the rest of you guys to do more.
Yeah, I feed off of it because I want to win too. That's our whole thing to do, is to win, and I want to win.
We noted in the broadcast, even though you're a freshman, there were many plays where you showed a lot of poise that is more demonstrative of upperclassmen, juniors and seniors. So how have you found a way to discipline yourself to come up with these clutch plays and stay cool about it?
Well, playing with Drea for AAU kind of helps me, and I just try to slow myself down, because sometimes I tend to get too intense and then just go everywhere, and I just try to hold the ball and take care of it and do what I can do with it.
What does it mean to be part of a first-time group for this game and get a Twin Cities title in your first visit?
It means everything. I'm just so happy right now. Like, we won the game.
Well, you have a tough section bracket ahead of you. Park Center and De La Salle are seated ahead of you at 1 and 2. So how does this game help you prepare for sections, and how do you go about it? Because those teams are pretty deep. You might be looked at as the underdog in those situations, but that being said, it's all you need to do is win one game. We'll start with you, Andrayah.
We just have to keep working hard every day. We can't take any days off, and we have to treat it like this is our last time, which it would be if we were to lose, but we're not trying to do that.
How excited are you, Mikayla, to take on this playoff bracket, and what does Como need to do to be successful in it?
I'm very excited. I can't wait to play all the teams, and I think we just need to play as a team and make smart decisions.
And anyone you want to say hi to that will be watching this game online or on TV?
Just my family, I guess. I don't know who else is going to watch it.
Uh,
What about you, Mikayla?
All my family and friends.
Well, again, no 50-point game. That will come next year, if not sooner. I'm still waiting for it. Mikayla looks like she believes you can do it. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great to get to see you evolve and get to know kind of your backstory. And Mikayla, a great game for you. This should be fun to see how you two grow next year, but you've got playoffs ahead of you, so good luck with that, and enjoy this Twin Cities championship.
Thank you.
Andrayah Adams and Mikayla VanNett of Como Park, thank you for watching our coverage of the 2014-15 season. I'm Mike Peden, and until next year, we'll see you next time.